Gladys Gachanja. Police say they have detained another suspect over the Tuesday afternoon attack at the Dusit D2 complex along Riverside Drive. The suspect, known as Hussein Mohammed, was arrested on Thursday in Mandera, and preliminary investigations show that he had been in communication with well-known terrorists in the country. On Friday, 5 suspects were arraigned in court over the Tuesday terror attack, and Joel Nganga, Gladys Gachanja, Justice Gulaid Abdi Hakim, who is a Canadian citizen, and Osman Ibrahim are all believed to have facilitated the terror attack that left 21 dead. The anti-terrorism police unit have been granted 30 days to detain the 5, and in a statement, Director of Public Prosecution Nuruddin Haji stated that investigations into the incident are complex and transnational, and sufficient time was needed to uncover the entire criminal syndicate. At the same time, Mahir Khalid Riziki has been identified as a suicide bomber whose actions set the attack in motion at the Dusit complex. President Uhuru Kenyatta and opposition leader Raila Odinga are expected to attend the burial of former Youth Enterprise and Development Fund chairman and music producer Bruce Odhiambo today in Muhoroni in Koru sub-county. Bruce died early this month while undergoing treatment at the Nairobi hospital after he suffered a massive heart attack. Bruce, who was an accomplished music producer at Johari Clef, had been unwell since October when he went to India for treatment. However, he developed a lot of complications upon his return in November last year. The late Bruce Odhiambo was the 4th chairperson of the Youth Enterprise Development Fund since its inception in 2006. A memorial was held on Thursday where family and friends, including First Lady Margaret Kenyatta, hailed Bruce as a big supporter of local music and talent. To some politics now, and Jubilee Party will not field candidates in the upcoming by-elections in Ugenya and Embakasi South constituencies. Jubilee Party Secretary General Raphael Tuju, through a statement, says the party decided not to take part in the 2 by-elections in the spirit of furthering the steps of constructive engagement with the other main parties in the contest. The party leadership insists that the decision is in the best interest of various initiatives that are geared towards reducing political tension in the country. The 2 parliamentary seats fell vacant after Supreme Court nullified the August 8, 2017 election of Ugenya MP Christopher Karan and Embakasi South MP Julius Mawathe on grounds that they were not validly elected. The by-elections for the 2 constituencies will be held on the 5th of April. Deputy President William Ruto has called on the judiciary to discharge its mandate diligently and in accordance with the Constitution and the rule of law. By doing so, every Kenyan seeking justice at the courts will feel comfortable with the judgments made. The Deputy President made the remarks at the Goto Teachers College in Kiambu County, where he was attending the burial of Professor Abel Gitau, who passed on last week. Now, Professor Gitau was Professor Olive Mugenda's husband, and those who gathered to mourn with the family hailed him as a role model to many Kenyans, a man who loved his job and did his best to do diligence to his nation.
Leaves a gap that will not be filled, certainly not by these few words of consolation. But let us be grateful that he lived in his life well and has left an indelible mark on the lives of all those who had the opportunity to interact with him.
So we are here to mourn a great Kenyan, a great man whose humility was profound.
Certain, Baba Gitau, that you are at peace, in a better place, where you no longer experience any other tribulations. We give thanks to God in all circumstances.
May he rest in peace. Now to education matters. Parents of Kapkenda Girls High School students in Elgeyo Marakwet County are demanding for the disbandment of the school board. According to the parents, the school board and management are incompetent after 159 Kenya Certificate of Secondary Education results were cancelled. Gabriel Kudaka has the details.
In the past 1 week, secondary schools across the country have been admitting Form 1 students ahead of the 2019 academic year. Kapkenda Girls High School in Elgeyo Marakwet County is no exception. The new students are reporting to school despite a number of candidates missing their results. Of the 226 candidates who sat for their National Form 4 exam last year, only 57 received their results. 37 of those who received their results managed to attain the university pass mark.
There are few girls who didn't receive their results, and today we are chatting a way forward on how to take care of them.
It is because of this that parents and local political leaders are up in arms against the school.
Kama ni walimu wachunguze sana, sababu wanafunzi hawezi kuwa wezi. Wenye wanaiba, wenye wanataka wanafunzi apate marks mingi ni mwalimu.
Board ya hiyo shule pamoja na headmistress lazima waondoke. Hawataendelea kusimamia hiyo shule. Maanake hizi vitendo zote zilifanyika wakiwa administration ya hiyo shule.
Some parents now want the school administration to cater for the fees of the students who now have to attend school for another year before writing the exams afresh.
Shule akaramia fees. Shule akaramia fees. Maneno ya chakula wazazi haone.
Gabriel Kudaka, NTV.
To the coast region, tourism stakeholders in Kilifi County have assured local and foreign visitors of security after a meeting with security agencies in the region. They say the police have guaranteed improved security around hotels and areas that are commonly visited by tourists. The tourism stakeholders have also urged foreign governments not to impose travel bans on the country, which they say have in the past affected the industry.
Terrorism ni mambo hutokea katika miji mingi duniani, si Kenya peke yake. We don't expect that our tourism arrivals in the country will be affected. Pia tunaomba mashirika na pia ambassadors na pia embassies za countries zingine wasiweze kupatiana advisory so that waweze kutusaidia ili kuimarisha utalii.
In Meru County, elected leaders there have challenged the incoming county commissioner, Alan Macharia, to follow in the footsteps of the outgoing Wilfred Nyagwanga. The leaders, led by Meru County Governor Kiraito Murungi, lauded the work of Nyagwanga, adding that he truly and selflessly served the people of Meru. The leaders pointed out how the outgoing county commissioner was actively involved in the fight against cattle rustling and banditry in the Igembe and Tigania areas. The incoming county commissioner pledged to work even harder in his new appointment.
He's so dedicated, he's such a hard-working man, and it's no wonder that the government of Uhuru Kenyatta has decided to lift him up, now to be in charge of the Central Kenya region, to be the regional commissioner of Central Province.
Now, through sheer grit and determination, 26-year-old Sarah Geke is making a livelihood from a space that few women have dared to venture into, the car wash business. From Kisii County, here is NTV's Janet Nyamwamu with Sarah's story of persistence that has bore fruit even in the midst of a myriad of challenges.
With the country's rising middle class, motor vehicle ownership is growing, and with that, the opportunity for enterprising Kenyans to earn a living from the industry. Sarah Geke is one of those who plunged into the unknown, plucking up enough courage to join male counterparts in the car wash business.
Siku ya kwanza nakumbuka nilitengeneza 450. Nikasema hii iko sawa at least. So kesho yake tena nikaamkia kufanya kazi, nikapata nimetengeneza 1150. Nikasema hii mafi ni hapana, acha nitoe, hii ni kazi mzuri.
A unique selling point for Sarah as an individual is the trust that she has established with her clientele, given that she has a driving license.
Si mtu ambaye unaweza mwachia gari upate kuna shida ndani, maybe uliacha na pesa ndani, unapata hakuna vitu zako. Anatunza vitu za customer wake sana.
Sina sasa gari kuosha tunaosha na 200 bob. Lakini sasa juu ameniita nimeenda nimechukua gari na nimerudi, nimemrudishia gari, unapata ananipatia kitu 500, 1000. So unaona hiyo ni pesa mingi. Sasa nikaona hiyo sasa hii kazi hata kama inachokesha, acha tunifanye.
While going about her day-to-day activities, giving a shine to the cars, Sarah also encounters a number of challenges. One of those is the perception that some have when it comes to women in the car wash business.
Kwa mtu mwenye anijui, anakuja kwa car wash, unamwendea unamuuliza customer nikusaidie kukuoshea gari. Anakuambia hapana, anakuangalia kutoka chini hadi juu. Anashindwa kwani huyu demo anasanioshea gari. Anasema hapana. Kuna mtu nataka anioshee gari. Unatoka tu hapo unaboeka. Hakuna kenye unaweza fanya.
Sarah's dream is to open her own car wash business and in time recruit women into the business since she has already broken that barrier and knows what it feels like to be in it. From Kisii County, Jogoo area, I'm Janet Nyamwamu reporting for NTV.
Definitely a woman in power. Well done to her and many others that can take up the same business. While Mombasa residents and guests visiting the Mama Ngina Drive waterfront are expected to enjoy high-speed internet connection once the project is complete. Principal Secretary for ICT and Innovation Jerome Ocheng assured residents during his visit in Mombasa on Friday.
With the connectivity that we'll provide, you see now with that connectivity, the infrastructure that we will provide, then you give an opportunity to have many other applications. For example, through that connectivity, then we can have our CCTVs, camera interlinked and networked to the security agencies so that they're able to monitor. So that infrastructure can be used by many other agencies.
Across the borders, over 2,000 protesters gathered in Bure, Khartoum, Sudan, outside the house of Mawiya Bashir, who was killed by state policemen for allegedly hiding demonstrators in his home. Meanwhile, Zimbabwean activist Ivan Mawarire was back in court for the second day and could be facing 20 years in jail following subversion charges.
Sudanese protesters continued to demonstrate and mourn the deaths of a doctor, a 16-year-old boy and a man who were all killed by state forces during an anti-government rally in Khartoum. According to the Sudan Doctors Union, a doctor was also shot in the head when trying to resuscitate other protesters, while a 16-year-old boy was shot dead during the crossfire. The deadly protests have rocked Sudan since they first broke out on December 19th, following the government's decision to raise the price of bread. Zimbabwean activist Ivan Mawarire was back in court for the second day. The pastor is accused of not only subverting the Zimbabwean government, but also inciting violence by posting videos on social media, encouraging people to strike over the increase in fuel prices. The nationwide demonstrations began on Monday following President Emmerson Mnangagwa's announcement that fuel prices are to be doubled. Former President Marc Ravalomanana has accepted defeat in Madagascar's recent presidential elections. This comes a day after the country's constitutional court confirmed Andry Rajoelina as the new leader of the nation. Rajoelina was declared president-elect after a second round of elections took place on the 19th of December 2018. Today, the transfer of power between outgoing president and the president-elect took place at the presidential palace.
20 people have been killed and over 70 others injured after a leaking fuel pipeline exploded in central Mexico. Dozens of locals had been collecting gasoline from the leaking pipeline when the explosion occurred in the north of Mexico City. The tragedy is one of the worst in the country's recent history and comes at a time when the federal government is waging a highly publicized war on fuel theft. The country lost over $3 billion from the fuel thefts in 2017 and has suffered hundreds of illegal ruptures to its network of oil and gas pipelines.
Niaje. Want to invest in a biashara that will take your hustle to the next level? Partner with Betin, the fastest growing biashara in Kenya today.
Culture, Rashid Echeza, has called on the two contractors at the Kipchoge Keino and Kamarini stadiums in Eldoret and Iten to speed up works. The CS, who was accompanied by county government officials, also toured a proposed site for another second stadium that has land for construction aside from the Kamarini stadium.
We have done plans as a government to tap talents at the grassroots. And the only way we can be able to tap talents at the grassroots is to ensure that we have enough facilities for sports. So those are the things that we're working on as a government, and on the behalf of the government, I want to assure Kenyans that we'll make sure that these projects are completed in time.
And as a county, we have also land, a piece of 26 acres that we are proposing to the national government, that as they prepare to build bigger stadiums, they can be able to have a piece of land here. We don't, because we are here in another place, they are looking for land, they want to compensate. With us, we have land. We just want them to take the land and build the stadium.
On to football, and Mathare United will be seeking to regain top position in the Kenyan Premier League when they host Kakamega Homeboys at the Kasarani Stadium in one of the 5 matches lined up in Day 8 action this weekend. The Slum Boys, who lie second on 17 points, a point behind leaders Bandari, will be gunning for their 6th win of the season. 12th place Sofapaka will take on Sony Sugar in the early kickoff at the Kenyatta Stadium in Machakos, with John Baraza at the helm after the resignation of coach Melis Meadow, who has since returned to Mount Kenya United. The 17th place KCB host Vihiga United in the second match in Machakos, seeking their 2nd win of the season. On Sunday, Ulinzi Stars battle Tusker FC at the Afraha Stadium, while Western Steamer host Nzoia Sugar in Kisumu. Leon Goretzka scored twice to give champions Bayern Munich a 3-1 victory at Hoffenheim on Friday night and cut Borussia Dortmund. Pacquiao against Mayweather again. Honestly, can't see this happening. It would really have to be up to Mayweather for him to decide on that. But anyway, you never know. Don't forget, of course, Top Sport on the way at 2 p.m. Quite a bit to talk about. But in the meantime, back to you, Gladys.
Thank you, Sean Cadavillas, with the latest from the sporting world. And before I call it a day right here on NTV at 1, imagine Kivutha Kibwana, Charity Ngilu and Alfred Mutua sleeping on the same political bed. Strange, right? Well, that's the nature of politics. Sometimes it brings together very strange bedfellows indeed. It's all about handshakes, and the spirit has now been devolved. And as Emmanuel Juma now reports on Bullseye, a new political alliance, Kingimu, is in its formative stages in Ukambani.
They are walking a new political road in Ukambani. It is the Kibwana Ngilu Mutua Alliance, or Kingimu in short. And that sounds like Kikamba, doesn't it? Anyway, the scheming is on and is being done standing, walking, and sometimes while seated. Operation Kalonzo Must Retire is on. But ladies and gentlemen, who will be president?
Hao watu wote hawa watatu wanaweza kuwa president.
Eti wanataka kuwa rais wa Kenya. Hawa watu nani amewaroga jamani? Nani aliambia Kivutha kuwa rais ni kusimama Makueni?
Na ikiwa kuna wengine pia Ukambani na Kenya nzima wanataka kuwa president, waitishe.
If he thinks he's too popular, we challenge him now to resign from the party and seek a fresh mandate from the people of Makueni. And we want to assure him that he will lose the seat even before the first ballot is cast.
No longer the scribe he has been, this Wambua guy. He has evolved into a real Kenyan politician. As for Kibwana,
kwa sababu tukitisha tukaambiwa kwamba ukiitisha unaharibia mtu mwingine. Yeye, mimi ikiwa ninaitisha na yeye anaitisha na niharibia.
Well, it's taken him a while, but finally, he now understands what hard tackling politics entails.
Bado mimi niko kwa debe 2022.
Hold your horses, Mutua. Kibwana just said any among you three can be president, you know.
Na yeye Mutua aende Masai Land, hapa Masai. Aite mkutano, ije watu 500. Taambia Kalonzo tuachie Mutua. Lakini hata umbwa wao nyumbani wanaowalisha, wakisikia wana mkutano wa kuitisha kiti ya rais, hakuna umbwa hata moja anakaeza kaa nyuma yao.
But Wambua, how did Mama Ngilu win in a Wiper stronghold?
Ngilu converted herself into a campaign manager for Stephen Kalonzo Musyoka in Kitui.
Hawa watu wa Wiper niliwashinda daytime. Kawashinda kabisa. Walikuja wote.
Nilisema chungeni huyu Ngilu.
Something is cooking in Ukambani, and believe you me, it's not Muthokoi.
Kwithina mundu ateti ya president. Hata mimi watu wanataka niitishe.
Kivutha, kama ungepanda kwenye mabega ya Kalonzo siasa ya Makueni, ungetokea kama gavana wa Makueni.
In Western Kenya,
as deputy party leader of Fort Kenya, nimeanza kufanya kazi na Mheshimiwa Ruto na sababu yenyewe.
We have not sent anybody to anybody for whatever reason, because we know that we have a candidate and the candidate is here speaking to you.
Khalwale, you are walking alone.
Kama wewe mjinga ulikuwa unafikiri Khalwale ameenda kufanya kazi na rafiki yake Ruto kwa ajili ya kutafuta kazi, sorry.
It was Ford gave birth to Ford Kenya, then new Ford Kenya. What piece of Ford will Khalwale take home with him this time around?
It is not that I'm a madman.
Sonkore. That must be the Nairobi governor Joho is calling. Sonkore has been on a rather extended working holiday at the coast, and it seems he carried with him the entire office. Time to reshuffle the cabinet came.
Charles Kerich retains his position.
How about the deputy governor?
From the NASA coalition, The headline is Raila Odinga Presidential Secretariat, blah, blah, blah.
It was a letter from NASA pleading with Sonko, so he alleged, to nominate one of their own.
Kama ODM hatujaulizwa, hatuna haja, hatutaki kuhusishwa na ile shida inaendelea hapa Nairobi kwa sababu ya ile makosa mlifanya wakati ya kuchagua Sonko.
But who signed that letter, Sonko?
Signed by Norman Magaya, Chief Executive Officer, Mambo Yabadilika.
Must everything always be about political survival?
Sisi tuko kwa siasa kila siku practicing. Na kwa hivyo lazima tuwe tukiongea kitu ya siasa. Tena ni ile ya kutengeneza. Mimi nimesema kuwe na amani, sijasema kitu mbaya.
Okay, let's hear that which you think really matters and it's not politics.
Na sisi tunapiga penalty.
Pena what?
Penalty inapigwa na DP hapo inaingia bao game shot.
Back to Kambani.
Professor Kibwana, an otherwise widely respected professor of law, has unfortunately reduced himself to a crybaby.
Na tuache kutishwa.
As they say in political language, kimeumana. And Dr. Ruto has the right prescription for such an ailment.
You can actually say the Lord's Prayer as many times, especially mambo kikiumana, unasema mara 7.
Emmanuel Juma, Bullseye, NTV.
Well, your weekly dose of Bullseye coming your way every Friday night and Saturday afternoon on NTV. Thank you for watching 1 p.m. We shall be back with you with more comprehensive bulletins at 7 p.m. and at 9 p.m. But for this afternoon, remember, Top Sport is coming up. Stay with us. My name is Gladys Gachanja.